Today we're gonna put our rye in our cover crop. It is September, I think it's the 19th today. We're mixing it with oats to be rye and oats. So roughly for every 65-pound bag of rye, 2 5-gallon pails of oats. And I'm not 100% sure, but I want to think we're going to be almost 80 pounds of rye per acre and the oats will probably be a little less, but because it's a bigger seed. So I'm kind of putting it in the drill about half and half, but then being that the rye has a smaller seed, it's probably going to come out a lot faster. So my theory is, because we've done this in the past, is the oats will really take off this fall. It'll get to be quite a shag there before it actually freezes completely out. And the rye will get very well established, being that it's earlier yet. And then in the spring, the rye will take over and put on a nice cover too. So we're kind of getting a little of both. And then, like a lot of times, it just has a lot to do with the type of weather we're going to get. This is pretty much our big flats here where we chopped all the corn silage off. This field over here is roughly 14 acres, almost all flat, a little bit of slope on that upper end there, other end. And then this here field is about 8 acres, and I got over half the corn off, so I probably got about 6 acres of that I could put in rye already. So what I got to do is I got to set my depth, and I'm going to go a little ways first. And it usually gets to be a little tricky. Rye only has to be, I guess, depending on what the moisture's like from this point on too, but rye only has to kind of get mixed in the soil. It doesn't really have to get very deep at all, just kind of good soil contact. I guess rye is pretty forgiving that way. So you really only want to scratch the surface with the drill mostly. And I know guys, they broadcast it. I've heard guys put it on with drones, all kinds of things. I mean, you can do it all kinds of ways, but the best results are the drill. I think you get the best soil contact. And I guess if we don't really have that much that we'll produce, I should be able to do it in less than a day. So we're gonna get out and see what's going on back there. There's a little more trash on the edges here for it to cut into, but once we get into the center of the field. And the thing is, with putting it in the corn stubble, the field is a little bit uneven. The field's a little higher where the corn row was. And there's a little bit of divot maybe where the wheel track would go. So you might be planting a little deep in some rows, and see, like, this is probably pretty good. You can still see the seed, but the soil's loosened up, so when it rains, it still will kind of go in. And I think we're just going to kind of go with this a little bit here. Just looking at it, I think we're going to be pretty good. So if you see a little bit on the surface, it's kind of okay. Oats can go deeper, but rye don't need to be. Now, all depends on the conditions, but we got to go with what we got now. So right now it's fairly dry, but these bottoms hold a lot of moisture. Should be able to get about 6-7 acres with what I got in there right now. And we got about 20 acres to do. Check we ain't plugging up here because this is not cleaned oats. There's a little bit of straw in it. This is quite a drill. You can put in 3 different types of seed at 3 different rates. There's 3 boxes on here. You got a main box, a second main box. So the main box must be 25 bushel. The second main box is a little bit smaller. And then you got your grass box or alfalfa box. So what I actually do when we seed hay is, this would be our alfalfa box, which would hold probably about 2 bags worth of that. And then we got our, we call it dual seed, but the second main, and then our main, which you can visually kind of see the difference in size a little bit, but it gives us all sorts of options. So right now I have my grass seeds in this box, and I have it shut off completely. In the alfalfa box, I can't shut off completely because these 2 chains are hooked to the same gearbox that the main box is on, but then I just shut off my feed tube. So then really what it is, it's ground driven, and I believe this wheel is doing all the driving for this main seed box, and then the wheel on the other side will drive the second main seed box. And then we got a transmission on each side, and there's 3 different gears. You got 1, 2, 3, 4. Right now we're in 3rd gear on both of them, and that allows me to get all sorts of settings. Some awfully tall corn. Actually looks very good. Roots look good. Population looks good. Consistency. Some of the cobs aren't quite filled out the whole way, but the one thing I've noticed this year with our corn, you know, we've been chopping, and when I look at this stuff, I see these husks open like this, I'm thinking like it's going to be too wet or too dry for chopping already, and I just chopped the load this morning to refill the silo, and it's wet yet. It's still too wet for a silo, and I think everybody's kind of seeing the same thing around this area. A little different last year. Last year when the corn looked like this, it was already too dry for corn silage, or getting too dry. So I'm gonna take one good look at this again. We got a little bit of seed here and there on top yet. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna get this job done here. We're gonna stop filming, and then when this stuff starts to come up, we'll give you guys an update on how this stuff is doing, and a little about what the weather's been in that up to that time. So we're gonna keep going. Pretty soon it'll be time for me to milk cows.
Hey there guys, welcome back. Gierok Farms. Looks like my dad just filmed the video, but I guess I'm not in the video. Seen the camera on the tractor, figured I'd pick it up, talk about how I'm always doing the behind the scenes work, but usually not in the videos. I think we might need to start a movement, justice for Mason, need Mason more in the videos. I'm actually going through YouTube withdrawal, haven't had enough. I'm sure you guys are too. I'm sure this ain't gonna make the cut, but Aaron, when you're cutting this, consider me more. I guess it could be a part of me not wanting to pick up the camera much, but again, let's start this movement, justice for Mason. Gierok Farms, Mason, signing out.